Hello, BookTube. It's Holy Sunday, and I thought I would show you all of my Christian non-fiction books because I have like nearly 20 and it's starting to get a lot. But it's one of my favorite like non-fiction areas to learn about. And I love the early Christianity. I love a good book about like Jesus and all that. And so yeah, there's a lot here. So we'll start with the hardcovers. And the first one we have today is Medieval Christianity: A History, and this is by Kevin Madigan or whatever. Amazing. This is the only book I've read about Christianity in the Middle Ages that really focuses in that time period, and I loved it so much. The writing is amazing. It's a lovely beginner's guide. It tells you everything you need to know. And yeah, if you have any more recommendations for Christianity in this the Middle Ages era, please let me know because I would happily read more from that time period. And then we have a more of a recent release. This is the first 500 years, Paula Fredrickson, iconic. I wrote this when it came out and read it, loved it. Essential, pick it up because it's very lovely. And then we have like a real classic about Jesus biographies, and that's Jesus Through the Centuries, the first, his place in the history and culture. I've read this twice and it's iconic. It is a bit dated in some of its spots, but it honestly doesn't matter because it's so well written and thought provoking about Jesus, and it's incredible. And then we have a recent read here, and I read this last week, and I hold this on my channel, and I'm embarrassed because I got the description of this like book so wrong, and I didn't know what I was going into. But and anyway, I read it, I loved it, and it is God's Perfect Child: The History of Christian Science Church, like that not denomination, but that type of church. Loved it. This was so bleak. The preface is amazing, and the last chapter in particular is one of the greatest like summaries of Christianity in America I've ever read. It is one of my favorite new books. Well, not new because it's like older than me, but yeah. And it talks about the founder of the Church of Science, and I've never read oh my god, what's it called? Science and Health. I've never read Science and Health by, I always forget her name, but um Mary. Oh my god, you know who it is. But anyway, I love this book, and yeah, it was very lovely. And then I read last night. I no, not last night. I finished it last night, but yesterday I spent all day, all my time, reading Lower Than the Angels: A History of Sex and Christianity. Um, Amazing. This is by Dave Damid McColinoff, who wrote A History of Christianity, that big chunky 1,000-page one. And this is I haven't read that one, but this one is incredible. It's my first book by him, and I love his pacing. His pacing is amazing. Um, Very informative. I loved how it started with the Greeks and then moved into the Romans and then Christian, like the Middle Ages. I love the artwork in here. This is amazing. If you want to try a book about Christianity and its relations to sex and just morals about bodies and all that in particular, this is a great place to start for that. And then to finish off the hardcovers, we have again one of my favorite ones ever, and it's Christ by Jack Miles. I His biography of God and Christ is stunning. This is again pretty much just a biography of Jesus, but it's told through the Old Testament, the New Testament, and it tells it like a narrative story, and it's just incredible. Jack Miles is one of my favorite writers ever, and I've only read those two books, but they are so incredible. If you see them secondhand, give them a try because you won't be let down at all. So I'll put these on the floor right now so we can start on the hard paperbacks. Okay, so first one we have here is Christian Beginnings by Geza I can't say that, I'm sorry. And this is short. I've heard about this one being talked about, but I haven't read it yet, so that's all I know. Early Christianity, and yeah. Then we have John Barton's, probably one of his most famous books, The History of the Bible. Again, I haven't read it yet, but I want to get to it soon. And speaking of Darmid, we have his History of Christianity. I haven't obviously read this yet, but I really need to get to it because I've heard nothing but good things, and this is a book I love to annotate too. And so I have that one too. Then a recent read from last week on when I was camping, the New Testament History by F.F. Bruce. Iconic. This is amazing. This is more scholarship about the early, like it's more of a history than like a narrative history. Like it's so like in depth about that time period, and this is one of the greatest I've ever read. It's just amazing. Then we of course we have God by Jack Miles. Iconic. We love it. Then we have one of the more famous ones here. We have How Jesus Became God by Bart Ehrman. And I have read probably 3 of his books in particular. I like him. This is probably still my favorite from him, but I find it to be a bit of a more one-trick pony. But yeah, if you haven't read How Jesus Became God, pick it up. It's very accessible and very thought-provoking. And then we have A History of Christianity by Paul Johnson. I haven't read this one yet, but I've heard the hype, and I've got a copy, and when I'll get to it, I'll let you know what I think of it. And then we have another big famous one, The Birth of Christianity by Crossman. Iconic. I've read this. It's referenced everywhere. So just pick it up because you'll see it in like all of the books I've mentioned. There are references to this book, and it's very famous and it's lovely. Then we have another early history one, Hersey by Kathleen Nixie. I thought this was really good. This came out last year, and I love the writing in this. It didn't teach me anything new, but again, as a lovely beginner book, this is incredible. And yeah, get it if you can. Then we have 2 more. We're still going. This is one of the first ones I read, and it's The Missionary Movements from the West by Andrew E. Walls. This was game-changing for me because this was the first book that showed that there was the spread of Christianity wasn't just like one group. It was like multiple groups traveling across the West, and this was incredible. I haven't read it. I probably read it when I was like 17, and I loved it, and I need to go back to it because it has been such a long time, but this blew my mind when I read it, and it's short, and yeah, pick it up. Then the last one we have for today, I haven't read this, and it's what is it? Through the Eye of the Needle. Again, I don't know much about it. It looks like it's about the decline of Rome and how Christianity rose in that environment. And yeah, that's really all I know. It's a bit big, but when I get to it, I'll happily, I'll have fun with it because this is one of my favorite genres ever. And so yeah, that's all my Christian non-fiction books for you today. If you have any recommendations, please let me know in the comments because I'll happily try them. I'm all in on this like subgenre of non-fiction. And yeah, let me know what you think of the books, and thank you for watching BookTube. I'll see you next time.